Hey guys, it's Melanie and today's video is going to be a school related video. Quick disclaimer, everything that I'm saying is pretty much my opinion and based off of my experience. I would say I have a decent grasp of school applications and like stats and everything like that. However, I'm not like a crazy academic scholar. I feel like I'm kind of mediocre average. I'm kind of giving you this advice as like an older sister or an older friend who went through the process. To be quite open and honest with you guys, I was always pretty like insecure about my intelligence as a whole. I don't know. And with school and stuff, I kind of kept it on the low. I've never been like the smartest person. I just put in a lot of effort into my schoolwork. So I didn't really put too much about it on my channel other than like school vlogs and stuff. However, college reaction videos and like college has always been the plan for me, and it's always something I wanted to integrate into my channel. Recently I did post my like college reactions video and like my college decisions, and a lot of people are asking about my stats and like how I got into the schools and stuff. So I figured I would be making this video. I don't know if this is like good timing or whatever because it's kind of the end of the school year, but you know what? I watch these videos all the time. So these are kind of just my tips. Of course, another disclaimer, I'm not guaranteeing that you're gonna get into your dream school or the schools that I got into by following these tips. College decisions are very hit and miss and they're a mix-up. So let's get straight into it. Keep in mind, I also didn't have the most typical high school experience because I did running start, and I know a lot of people ask about that. So if you want a video more specifically geared to like running start and about like my experience with it, I can totally do that as well. So starting off, to go over like my basic stats because that's probably what most people want to hear. My freshman year GPA was a 3.92. It was the same for my sophomore year, and then both junior and senior year my GPA was a 4.0. So my entire GPA was like a 3.96 or 95 or something like that. My SAT score was a 1380, and then it was a 1390 super score, 700 math, and 690 on like the reading writing portion, and I believe I took it 3 times. Overall, I do think GPA and SAT are important, but it really depends the schools that you're applying to. Certain schools definitely do prioritize it more than others. I wouldn't not apply to a school just because your SAT isn't in like the average, because there are standouts that get accepted and stuff like that. So I would never hold yourself back. I'm not a good test taker, and I know that my SAT scores were pretty average, I would say. They did fit into the schools that I was applying to, but they were on kind of the lower end. I just made sure to compensate for that in my application by really focusing like on my essay and my extracurriculars, and I think that's what's most important, that you're just showing you're a well-rounded student. You want like a cohesive application. So if you're super strong in one part of your application, you do want to highlight that, but you also want to show that you're well-rounded and show like where you're focusing. So if your SAT score and your test scores in general or GPA aren't as high, you want to show where you're making up for that in your extracurriculars. Maybe it's because you're working, or maybe it's because you're doing a lot of clubs, something like that. And kind of explain it in your essay and the written portions of your application by focusing more on like your hobbies and what was taking up that time. On to APs and like honors classes I took. I'm just gonna say what I did for freshman and sophomore year, because junior and senior year I did do running start. Both freshman and sophomore year I was in Philharmonic Orchestra, which is like you audition. It's basically 0 period. Honors language arts freshman year I did honors algebra, and I was 2 years ahead in math. I also did honors science and took a language for 2 years. I don't know, looks good. I was essentially like a year ahead in Spanish because I started in middle school, so I guess that looks kind of good. Sophomore year I was also in Philharmonic Orchestra. I also was in honors language art pre-cal, which is also 2 years ahead in math. I took AP bio and AP history. However, I only got like 3s on the AP exam. I'm going to Pepperdine and they count as credits there, but it doesn't like super impressive. It just shows that I was willing to challenge myself, although I don't know I took those classes because I'm not interested in history or bio. I was just like, APs, but really that like just stressed me out, and I was very, very bad at it. And junior and senior year, I'm not gonna go over like all the classes I took because it was a lot. I took 90 credits worth of college classes, so that does look really good. Based on talking to like colleges and stuff, doing running start looks comparable to AP classes, just because it shows that the student is planning for their future and is challenging themselves higher core work classes because they are college level. I took a mixture of like hybrid, online, and on-campus classes. I took all my high school graduation requirements, which were just like history and civics and stuff like that. And then I also took a lot of business core work classes because I knew I wanted to go on the business path. I didn't get an associate's degree. The school I go to, it aligns really well with a lot of in-state schools, so the associates would transfer straight over. However, I am going out of state, so only like a portion of my credits transfer over anyways. I don't know, it's a little confusing, so I can do a separate thing on that. Basically, I took the accounting series, business law, both econs, business stats, business calc. It was very like cohesive, and it shows that I had a plan. Decided to do Running Start because they had more opportunities for like business targeted classes, and it helped me like follow my plan towards my business degree. Okay, so that's pretty much it for all of my classes. I will say for like my teacher recommendations, certain schools it will require it, and whenever they give you the option for something, you should most likely do it. You know, you want to go above and beyond for your applications. Personally, I didn't connect. This is something I do regret, not like talking to my teachers more and participating more in class. I'm a good student, I get my work done and I put in full effort, but I don't like participate a lot in class, and part of that was just because I low-key had anxiety in high school and I hated talking so much. And then in college, a lot of my stuff was online, so it was hard to get like super involved. Because of that, I did ask my high school teachers for recommendations just because I felt like they knew me better. I spent more time with them compared to at the college. With the bigger classes and like with the faster paced system, I didn't really get to know my teachers that well, so I didn't ask any of them for recommendations. Okay, now on to like some of the extracurriculars that I did. I was in a club called FBLA, which is Future Business Leaders of America, and I did it freshman, junior, senior year, I believe. But it's just a business club, which also ties in with my whole application of like, I'm a business major, that thing, you know. The group project did really well junior year, and I ended up going to national, so I put that in my application. Also in National Honor Society, which is like a selective club that you apply to. I think they're like the role models of the school based on like GPA and like involvement, and you do a lot of volunteering, stuff like that, and then they just meet up like regularly, volunteer and help the community, stuff like that. So I was in that junior and senior year. I talked about some of my involvement with my church, which also included like volunteering, but it's also just like a regular part of my routine, I guess. It also played a part in like community involvement, I guess. I talked about 2 specific mission trips. I did one summer one called Gleanings. We went to this like peach plantation for a week, and then we tried fruit to feed the hungry. So I talked about that in some of my applications. And then I also went on a mission trip to Cambodia for like 10 days during a winter break. I think it was my sophomore year. Helped out at like an English Christian school, so I also talked about that. Also with community service, I only like turned in some of my hours because you only need 20 hours to graduate, so I think I turned in like 40 of my hours because you have to fill out like this really long paper for my school, and I was a little bit lazy. Aside from that, I did other community service through like the NHS club, but I don't know, it didn't matter that much. I also did drill my first 2 years of high school. Not a lot of people know what drill is. It's kind of like a mix of like cheer, dance, gymnastics, but within like military emphasis. It's like a team, or it's technically a club, but it's a sport. It was so much work, and it was very, very time consuming for me both years, so I put a lot of emphasis on that. I was also captain my sophomore year, and we won several awards. We got like 2nd and 4th in state my freshman year, and then we got 1st and 2nd my sophomore year. So I wrote about that in a few like supplemental essays, I believe. It also showed like leadership, and then that I was able to balance my time, stuff like that. The overall emphasis of all of my applications, there are different applications you do depending on where you apply. So my main ones, I had the Cal States, which didn't require any essays. It was just all purely stats. Common App, Coalition, oh, and UCs. So those had like supplements and then your main core essay. But overall, I really focused all of my applications around like social media and YouTube because it was a big part of my life. And then I also like tied it in with my interest in business and like Running Start. So it was kind of just like my whole life story. The basis of my Common and Coalition application work, because I think I used the same essay. I just changed it a little because they have different lengths. And then my UC app, it's like 4 different supplemental essays. I think I talked about like FBLA, drill, school, and something else. That was kind of me rambling for a very, very long time, but hopefully you gathered something from it and hopefully it was helpful. Overall, my biggest points, I would say anything to get you motivated for school, and for me that really was watching a lot of YouTube videos of like future college student stats and like how they got in, or acceptance videos. That really kept me motivated throughout the year. It was very helpful, but all around I would say just work on having like a cohesive application and showing that you're really passionate in what you're going for. Even if you're lacking in some point, you want to prove to the college that you're deserving of a spot. You really do have to think about it as like you're competing with other students, and as much as you want to show a school that they want to pick you, want to have the confidence to say like, oh, I want to pick them, and you want to say why you guys are a good match. Personally, I think the most important part is like the essay. I mean, you have to think about it. You're competing against so many students. All you really have is your experiences, your true self, what you're showing through your essay. So that's what I would really focus on. Just whatever you do, don't be afraid to get a draft down. And I know it's really uncomfortable at first to be like sending it to people, and I know for me it was really uncomfortable having people read it at first because I didn't do a lot of writing, show all these random people like my essays and be like, oh, this is literally my life story. But honestly, it's really interesting, you know, see how your application comes along and also help other people. I would just recommend getting started as soon as possible, and you want to have a good group of people you trust reading your essay. If you just send it to everyone, nothing's ever going to be perfect. So you have to have the confidence in yourself to know once you're proud of it, and you have to be done with it. Because if you keep changing it, it's going to be other people's work, not your own. Hopefully this video was helpful to you guys, and I wish you all the best on your college application process and the rest of school. If you guys want to see other school videos and keep up with me as I go into college, make sure to let me know because I do plan on doing like college videos. Follow me on my socials and subscribe to this channel. It really helps me out, and I love talking to you guys and just want to thank you for all the support. So thank you guys, I love you, and I hope you're having an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.
I know it's getting late now, babe.